A haunting voice, a shadow slipping through the forest. The wolf is like the spirit of the wild. And like the wild, the wolf is under attack. It's a long and bloody story. During the last 3 centuries in North America, untold numbers, perhaps millions of wolves, have been hunted down and killed. These intelligent, resourceful creatures were the supreme hunters of the Northern Hemisphere. Then another predator invaded their territory, determined to drive out the competition by any means. Hunting, trapping, poisoning, and aerial gunning have all been used against them, and they're still being killed in Canada by farmers, hunters, and wildlife managers.
I can't turn to shoot like that.
Okay, I'm gonna have to turn around.
4 o'clock. 4 o'clock.
Drop it. Our best friend is a lot like us. Intelligent, sociable, playful, and so is its ancestor, the wolf. But we've treated wolves as our worst enemy through centuries of persecution. And today, wildlife management continues that tradition. Right now, the official plan is to kill hundreds of wolves on Vancouver Island in order to get more black-tailed deer. Provincial wildlife management projects like this determine how many of each kind of animal there should be in the wild. Tonight we'll look at how we get along with our best friends' relatives and what our governments do to wolves on our behalf. This was how things looked in North America not long ago. Great herds of grazing animals and the predators that followed them. Bears, coyotes, cougars, human beings, gray wolves. It's the natural way of things. The wolves and the bison, the predator and the prey, each shaped by the watchful presence of the other. As the wolves patrol, looking for an opening, the bison gather around their young. Wolves hunt cooperatively. Working together, they can bring down prey far larger than themselves. Each species evolved ways to outwit the other, and so the ancient game continued. Wolves have to work hard. On average, only 1 out of every 10 chases ends with a kill. And sometimes, they're given compelling reasons to cut their losses and go. North American Indians have honored the wolf for its wisdom. But the settlers who came to this continent had very different ideas. They saw the wolf as part of the dangerous wild they'd come to conquer. The battle began, a fight to the death. The slaughter has been immense. Wolves have been almost completely eradicated from the lower 48 states of America and from most of southern Canada. It was a crucial part of taking possession of the land. The wilderness had to be cleaned up, made safe for human beings. When wolves were heard around the settlement, men banded together and went out to defend their livestock, even, they believed, their lives. There's never been a case in North America when a healthy wolf attacked a human. Quite the reverse. But the fear was tremendous, and the triumph when human power overcame the wild. In Canada, governments started large-scale wolf kills 40 years ago. Big game animals in the northern wilderness seemed to be in decline. Without knowing what was really going on or why, officials began a massive wolf kill using poison baits. Between 1951 and 1961, more than 17,000 wolves were poisoned in northern Canada alone. No one knows how many other creatures died. Provincial governments are still in the business of killing wolves. Values decide the policy. Science gives the whys and wherefores. These pups in the Yukon are the object of a study exploring how wolves affect the numbers of the animals they prey on. It's always the same question, because wolf science serves that central goal of wildlife management, increasing ungulate numbers. They've been closely studied for half a century or more. What's been learned is used for the most part against them, to manage and control them, to tame the spirit of the wild. Wolves have been following the northern caribou for uncounted generations. These are some of the last great herds in North America. Science knows next to nothing about this ancient relationship, and yet, even here, there's a history of human interference, of attempts to manage the northern wolf and its prey. The spotter plane is looking for caribou, dead or alive. Hidden somewhere here is the Bluenose herd, 120,000 animals, and the wolves that follow them. A 4-year study in this part of the Northwest Territories is exploring how the wolves affect the herd. Researchers overfly the study area daily, looking for recent kills. Bones give technician Ilmay Liepens clues to why this animal was vulnerable, whether it was sick or starved, or just unlucky. They reveal what killed it and what came later to share the feast. Recording kill after kill, the study team builds a picture of caribou mortality across 150,000 square kilometers. The wolves in the area are tracked down. They're hit with a tranquilizer dart and brought together to be examined. Peter Clarkson on the left is the project biologist. Funding comes from the Inuvi Aluit, native people of the territories. The Bluenose herd is their main source of food. There's no problem now, but if caribou numbers start to drop, the Inuvi Aluit want to know what part the wolf is playing. Detail by detail, they're building a profile of the average wolf. The process is very hard on the animals. In the next few hours, many animals will come to claim a share. Sharing food means sharing space, finding the proper distance, setting boundaries. The animals here aren't fighting, they're negotiating. Perhaps the whole world is actually a banquet to which every living thing has been invited. First you come as guests, and then eventually you're on the menu. The coyotes may have been summoned by ravens. When they find a kill, unmated ravens make a hullabaloo, perhaps to call other young ravens. Sharing food is part of raven courtship, and other animals have learned how to benefit. The wolf arrives without a flourish. It didn't make the kill, but it will claim a portion. And after an argument, the coyotes will give way. This big bad wolf is nervous, perhaps because it's so outnumbered. Finally, there's time to settle down and eat. By mid-afternoon, a storm has driven in over the mountains. Spread wings define the eagle's space, but there's room and food to spare. Golden eagles, like most North American predators, were labeled vermin and treated accordingly. The species that survived this vendetta are now mostly labeled endangered. Wolves are still at the vermin stage in Canada. Almost everywhere else in the world, they're labeled endangered or extinct. There's no waste in the natural world, and nothing is lost.